English Made Easy with Cikgu Hana.
Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good day to all viewers. I'm Cikgu Hana from IPG Campus Bahasa Melayu Kuala Lumpur. Today I'm going to share with you about reading comprehension. In my previous video, I've already talked about skimming and scanning, that's its speed reading, and today it's on in-depth reading, which is reading comprehension. So stay with me, I'm going to explain in a while.
We are going to learn about reading comprehension. There are at least 3 types of reading. First is skimming and scanning. Second, reading comprehension. And the third is active reading. Skimming and scanning is we read when we try to figure out what the article or the book is all about. Reading comprehension is an in-depth reading. And normally we try to find the answers to the questions that we have while reading, because we are trying to comprehend what we read. And then the third one is active reading. Active reading is when we respond to the text that we read. We don't just absorb, and we question the text. Reading comprehension is reading to understand the meaning of the text we read. And then it is also to process the information we read and to integrate the information with what we already know. So to understand what we read precisely, we need to be able to interpret what we read and then make connections between what we read and what we already know, and we think deeply about what we have read. So reading comprehension is all about comprehending what we read. Alright, there are 4 levels of comprehension. First is literal, second inferential, third evaluative, and fourth applied. Let me explain. Alright, the first one, literal. We read and understand the facts which are stated clearly in the text, such as date, time, venue of events or incidents, and specific information. So at this level, we read just on the surface, just to look at some important points, but not really think about what we read. Alright, the next level is inferential. At this level, we try to understand what we read by building on facts written in the text. Then we make inference or predictions and draw conclusions, or we could look at the sequence and settings stated or implied. Most of the times, good writers, they don't state the information clearly, so we have to make inference. Okay, so the third level of reading comprehension is evaluative. We read and we evaluate the text we read. We conclude whether the content of the text is based on facts or just opinion, or the text is presented in approaches like compare and contrast, cause and effect, problem and solution, and etc. So we go to the third level is when we do some analysis of what we read. We no longer absorb, but we question and we evaluate the information. Okay, the fourth level is applied. So when we read, we try to respond to the text by looking at how the writer used the language, values, imagery, style, and purpose in his or her writing. We could also look at the ideas presented and questions the views or validity. At this level, we, the readers, move one step ahead from merely comprehending to looking at the style of the writer's writing. Now let us look at what helps us to comprehend what we read. First, our background knowledge. Second, our vocabulary bank. Third, our ability to identify clues like context clue, definition, conjunctions, and logical connectors used in the text. And fourth, our ability to make inference and draw conclusion. Apart from the 4 tips to help us comprehend what we read, we need to become active readers. We don't just absorb what we read, but we must question what we read like we are talking to the writer of the text. When we question the text and become an active reader, it would be easier for us to comprehend what we read. Now let us look at some reading comprehension strategies. Research studies on reading and comprehension have shown that highly proficient readers utilize a number of different strategies to comprehend various types of texts. Strategies that can also be used by less proficient readers in order to improve their comprehension. Here are the strategies that we can adopt: making inference, planning and monitoring, asking questions, determining importance, visualizing, synthesizing, and making connections. Let us look at making inference. In everyday terms, we refer to making inference as reading between the lines. It involves connecting various parts of text that aren't directly linked in order to form a sensible conclusion. A form of assumption, the reader speculates what connections lie within the texts. This is true when you read a novel and the plot is twisted and you have to speculate and make educated guesses. So it depends on how the writer put them into writing. Planning and monitoring are strategies which center around the reader's mental awareness. By previewing text, like skim and scan, we can establish a goal for reading, such as you question, what do I need to get out of this? Readers use context clues and other evaluation strategies to clarify text and ideas, and thus monitoring their level of understanding. The next strategy is asking questions. To solidify our understanding, or to make our understanding rock solid, we need to inquire and develop our own opinion of the author's writing, character, motivations, relationships, and etc. This strategy involves allowing ourselves to be completely objective in order to find various meanings within the text. The next strategy is determining importance. By pinpointing the important ideas and messages within the text, using a pen or a highlighter will help us to locate and identify direct and indirect ideas which are relevant to our purpose of reading. The next strategy is visualizing. With this sensory-driven strategy, we form mental and visual images of the contents of text. Being able to connect visually allows for a better understanding with the text through emotional responses. Visual plus emotion will lead to better understanding and long-lasting memory. Next is synthesizing. This method involves marrying multiple ideas from various texts in order to draw conclusions and make comparisons across different texts, with the reader's goal being to understand how they all fit together. So this is just like when we do research or when we are trying to make notes, we compare one text to the other, so we synthesize the information. The final strategy is making connections, reading beyond the lines. So making connections involves finding a personal connection to the text we are reading. We can also make connection with the text by thinking about alternative ideas, examples, endings, which could be presented in the text we read. This becomes an active reading. Here are some other reading comprehension strategies that we can adopt. First, we can improve our vocabulary. The more words we know, the lesser time we take to understand what we read. Then we come up with questions about the text we are reading. We use context clues, and then we look for the main idea so that we grasp the gist of what we are reading. Then we transfer what we read in a graphic organizer if it helps, especially if you are a visual learner. We break up the reading into smaller sections. And finally, we can include our emotion while reading the text. It would help us to comprehend faster. Okay, before we end, I want to share with you 3 online resources for you to practice your reading comprehension. First is readtheory.org, next English Maven, and e-reading worksheets. I will share with you the link in the description of this video.
Thank you so much to all viewers for watching my video. So I hope you will help me to subscribe channel Cikgu Hana so that I'll be motivated to share more videos in the future. Bye for now.